The soil holds memories. Forests hold stories. And when trees fall, something greater also disappears. The balance between power, people, and the future. In the heart of East Africa, a woman turned seeds into resistance. Her name was Wangari Maathai, and her battlefield was the earth itself. This is the story of how she defied a dictatorship with trees, transforming the simple act of planting into a powerful tool for democracy and dignity. In Kenya, the connection between people and the land runs deep. Forests are not just ecosystems. They are cultural sanctuaries, sources of sustenance, and silent witnesses to history. But under the grip of an authoritarian regime, the landscape began to change. Trees were felled not for progress, but for profit. Public lands were carved up and handed to political allies. This environmental degradation wasn't just a side effect of poor policy. It was a mirror reflecting a system that valued control over community and power over people's well-being. The silence of the falling trees echoed the silencing of dissenting voices. As the forest shrank, so did the space for freedom. To understand this struggle, we must look back. Kenya's past is etched with the legacy of British colonial rule. Foreign domination didn't just redraw borders on a map. It fundamentally reshaped power structures and the very relationship between Kenyans and their land. The colonial administration centralized control, dispossessing communities of their ancestral territories and converting them into commercial plantations for export crops like tea and coffee. Land became an instrument of control, a tool to manage populations and extract wealth. When Kenya gained independence in 1963, the hope for a new beginning was immense. But the inherited colonial systems of governance proved resilient. Power remained concentrated in the hands of a few, and the land policies that had once served the empire now served a new political elite. The unequal distribution of land wasn't just an economic issue. It fueled social exclusion and political tension, creating a society of open wounds where the promise of freedom felt incomplete. For many rural communities, especially women, independence had not brought the expected liberation. It had only changed the face of the authority that governed their lives and their land. But change was coming, quietly germinating in the mind of one remarkable woman. Education is a silent form of revolution. For Wangari Maathai, studying science was not just an academic pursuit. It meant understanding the world in order to transform it. Her journey was extraordinary. She earned scholarships to study in the United States, becoming the first woman from East and Central Africa to earn a doctorate. Abroad, she was exposed to the growing global environmental movement of the 1960s and 70s. Ideas that connected ecological health with social justice. When she returned to Kenya, armed with knowledge and a new perspective, the contrast with the reality on the ground was jarring. She saw the direct consequences of deforestation, soil erosion, dried-up rivers, and women who had to walk farther and farther to find firewood. She connected the dots between environmental decay, poverty, and the disempowerment of rural communities. The problem wasn't a lack of resources, it was a lack of power. This realization was the seed from which a powerful movement would grow. Her academic consciousness was about to become a political one. Planting a tree may seem simple, but in an authoritarian regime where every collective action is viewed with suspicion, it is a deeply subversive gesture. In 1977, Wangari Maathai founded the Greenbelt movement. Its mission was straightforward: pay rural women a small stipend to plant trees. But its impact was revolutionary. This was not just about conservation, it was about empowerment. By planting trees, women were reclaiming their agency. They were restoring the environment, securing a source of firewood and income, and rebuilding their communities from the ground up. Each sapling planted was a vote of confidence in the future. The Greenbelt movement created a network of empowered women across the country. Grassroots leaders who understood the link between their local environment and the nation's political health. They were not just planting trees, they were planting ideas of self-sufficiency, social justice, and democracy. Wangari Maathai had turned reforestation into a vehicle for social change, giving a voice to the voiceless and proving that environmentalism could be a powerful political act. When power fears collective awareness, it reacts with institutional repression. The government, led by an increasingly autocratic president, saw the Greenbelt movement not as an environmental initiative, but as a political threat. The state couldn't control it. Wangari Maathai's growing influence and outspoken criticism of government policies made her a target. The regime tried to silence her. She faced harassment, ridicule, in state-controlled media, and political detentions. The legal system was weaponized against her, used as an instrument of intimidation to try and shut down her activism. But Wangari and the women of the Greenbelt movement responded, not with violence, but with peaceful resistance. They organized protests, wrote letters, and used their shovels and saplings as symbols of defiance. When the government planned to build a massive private complex in the middle of Nairobi's Uhuru Park, one of the city's few public green spaces, Wangari led a fierce public campaign to stop it. She stood her ground, facing down institutional violence. Her courage showed that peaceful, determined opposition could challenge even the most entrenched power. The state was fighting the forest, and the forest was fighting back. The heart of this conflict was a destructive force: corruption. Corruption doesn't just destroy public funds. It destroys rivers, forests, and futures. Under the regime, the improper privatization of public green areas became rampant. Forests and parks were illegally allocated to political loyalists and business allies for personal gain. This was environmental exploitation intertwined with political power. The natural resources that belonged to all Kenyans were being plundered by a select few, eroding both the landscape and public trust. Wangari Maathai was fearless in exposing this. She publicly denounced the corrupt deals, naming names, and demanding accountability. She understood that protecting the environment was inseparable from fighting corruption. Her public denunciations mobilized citizens who were tired of seeing their country's natural heritage sold off. The struggle for parks and forests became a broader struggle for transparency, good governance, and the rule of law. It was a fight to reclaim not just the land, but the very soul of the nation. The struggle for freedom takes many forms. Some march in the streets. Others, like Wangari, plant trees. Her fight in Kenya was part of a larger story unfolding across the continent. While Wangari was defending forests, another giant of African liberation, Nelson Mandela, was leading the fight against apartheid in South Africa. Though their methods were different, their goals converged. Both understood that true freedom is not just about political rights. It is about dignity, self-determination, and a connection to the land that sustains you. There is a powerful parallel between Maathai's environmental activism and Mandela's struggle for civil rights. Both confronted oppressive systems that sought to devalue and dispossess their people. Mandela fought for a rainbow nation where all people were equal. Mandela fought for a green nation where the environment was respected as the foundation of life. Their symbolic dialogue represented a new vision for Africa, one where political liberation and ecological sustainability were two sides of the same coin. Freedom for both was deeply rooted in the soil of their homeland. The world finally started to listen to what the forest already knew. For decades, Wangari Maathai's work was seen by some as a local fringe movement, but its message was universal. Her unwavering courage and the profound simplicity of her vision began to resonate globally. International organizations started to recognize the power of her grassroots approach. This culminated in 2004 when Wangari Maathai was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. It was a groundbreaking moment. For the first time, the Nobel Committee explicitly linked peace with sustainable development and environmental protection. The prize was a powerful political symbol. It validated her struggle and sent a clear message to the world. Protecting our planet is essential for building a just and peaceful society. It was a victory not just for her, but for environmental activists everywhere. With this global recognition, the environment was no longer a secondary issue. It was firmly placed on the global agenda as a core component of human rights, security, and peace. A true legacy is not found in awards or statues, but in the roots that remain, growing stronger and deeper long after you are gone. Today, the Greenbelt movement has planted over 51 million trees in Kenya, but its impact goes far beyond that number. It has transformed the lives of hundreds of thousands of women, providing them with income, knowledge, and a sense of purpose. The movement continues to thrive, inspiring new generations of activists in Kenya and around the world. Wangari Maathai's ultimate legacy is the idea she championed, that the environment is a pillar of democracy. She taught us that a healthy democracy requires transparency, accountability, and the active participation of its citizens in protecting their shared resources. She showed that ordinary people, working together, have the power to challenge injustice and build a better future. The roots she planted continued to bear fruit, nurturing a world where human rights and a healthy planet are seen as indivisible. In a world still marked by deep environmental and political crises, the story of Wangari Maathai reminds us that every tree planted is an act of hope. It is an act of courage. It is an act of transformation. Her life proves that one person, armed with a simple idea and unwavering determination, can indeed change the world. To plant is to resist. To plant is to believe in tomorrow. If this story inspired you, please like the video, share it with those who believe in the power of change, and subscribe to our channel to continue exploring stories that have transformed the world. Thank you for watching.